I'm here with Stella. She is one of 3 sea lions who is going to be here at the Ionia Free Fair all through July 20th. And I talked to their trainer earlier who grew up going to this fair, and she's excited to bring these animals back where she can tell people all about her job and how she got to this point. This is the beginning of the lines. People have been here for hours. Some people have even been waiting in their cars. You know what I'm saying? So going all the way back, we counted at least 60 people by now. Judging by what they've told me, it is a pretty mixed bag out here. You can see behind me about a dozen people out here picketing outside the Grand River plant. Earlier we asked the City of Lansing for a list of all the pothole complaints they've received since the beginning of 2017. Now here's part of the result. I didn't want to kill too many trees, but it's safe to say they've been busy. The reverend of this church was here last night preparing a sermon that she was going to give at 10:30 this morning, just as she does every week. She had no idea that she would be back here before dawn on Sunday to see the church in smoke and flames. Police did take another man into custody. It was another 21-year-old Lansing man who they have in custody for this shooting. The 17 priests named in this report make up less than 3% of the total number that have come through this diocese since the 1930s. But that small group has already impacted dozens of church members in that time, and the bishop is now trying to find a way for those members to come forward and heal. It was non-stop testimony all day, from 9 in the morning until just about 2 hours ago, if not an hour ago. Dozens, if not hundreds of people spoke up for their colleagues who couldn't come to the meeting and for the patients they serve.
What am I supposed to tell them if I'm no longer able to practice? How am I going to explain that these are rule changes?
Changes that would affect 10,000 licensed professional counselors in Michigan. Lara officials say the counselors would still be able to practice if the changes were implemented. But the counselors and their colleagues say part of the wording, especially when it comes to their ability to diagnose patients, would put some of them out of work.
Today we have a crisis. We already have a shortage. Many of us have wait lists. There are people who feel like they can't even find a provider. They have these long waits before they can get help. Imagine if all of these people are not in their offices. And even today, being here, we sacrifice.
Many of the counselors want Lara to hold off on approving new rules until House Bill 4325, which would set a standard that allows them to continue practicing, has a fair chance at becoming law. State Rep Aaron Miller says the same bill got a lot of support in the House last year, even though it didn't pass the Senate. But it's back again, and based on the number of people who came to this meeting, he's confident it can pass the House and Senate in this legislative cycle.
If we can show that support at the committee hearing on Tuesday, it'll make the chances for the bill all that much better, and I think we'll have a better vote than 95-14 this year, so I'm looking forward to it.
Today, Lara officials said in that meeting that they don't have an exact timeline to put these rules into place if they are approved. And House Bill 4325 goes onto the floor next Tuesday, and many of the supporters who came today say they plan to be there too. The tradition of Dia de los Muertos, also known as Day of the Dead, goes back more than 3,000 years. Family and friends coming together to remember their loved ones and welcome their spirits back.
It's not meant to be scary. It's not All Saints Day, it's not Halloween. It's a distinct holiday celebration attributed to the Aztecs and indigenous people of America.
The Casa de Rosado in Lansing has put ofrendas on display since 2017 for the holiday.
It's celebrated by remembering a loved one that has passed, and it's celebrated on a tiered ofrenda. An ofrenda is a type of altar that has certain elements that the deceased may need.
And each ofrenda has its own theme, but they're all personal. Sandra Maxim made her first ofrenda this year in honor of her son Paul, who died from a skateboarding accident in 2009.
You have a funeral and a memorial service and all of that, but this has been really rich for me to just share his life and things that he enjoyed.
Things like his love for meditating, reggae music, and magic tricks. And though she doesn't plan on making another ofrenda specifically for him, she says she'll cherish his memory and always remember the best parts of his life.
We haven't forgotten. We love you, and it's all here for you, right down to the circus peanuts.
Here for you in Lansing, Ashley Graham, 6 News. In a rare move during public comment, Erica Davis, a sexual assault survivor, offered some questions and a challenge to the Board of Trustees.
Do you believe that I was sexually assaulted and raped by Nasser? And why have you told me my case is worth nothing instead of letting me heal like my Wave 1 sisters? And I will give you the rest of my time to answer my questions.
For more than a minute, the president and trustees sat silent while supporters cheered Erica on.
I really did see a lot of stern looks. I know that one of the trustees on the far left just looked disgusted. I mean, really just looked uncomfortable and disgusted.
Many of the women who spoke today had questions like Erica's. After the meeting, Trustee Diane Byram says it's not that they didn't want to respond. It was just a matter of policy and procedure.
As a trustee, it's our responsibility, I believe, to be respectful and to listen. So that's the purpose of that part of our board agenda.
It was another tense moment after multiple survivors addressed the board, criticizing them and asking for more transparency.
It's not too late to do the right thing. Take a little accountability, say you're sorry for the role you played, and it's definitely not too late to waive privilege.
The board says transparency is a journey and the school is working to improve. Survivors say they plan to keep showing up to remind them of their promises and hold them accountable. Here for you in East Lansing, Ashley Graham, 6 News.
And it's just really shocking to see how it is. I don't know, it's really shocking.
Jacqueline Benito says she was asleep when her fiance called early this morning, hours before her normal shift at Don Pancho on Lansing's south side. He was driving by the store on his way to work and saw that a car had crashed through the store's wall.
And he called me and he was like, I'm not sure you're gonna work today. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was asleep. And he said, well, there's a car in the store. But I thought he meant actually halfway inside the store.
Thankfully, the car wasn't all the way in the store itself, but it did damage the outside of the building and started a gas leak. That was enough to slow down business for the day. Police say the driver is being treated for her injuries, and the owners say they're just glad no one was in the store at the time, and they're grateful for all the calls and messages of support they've gotten throughout the day. They're also sending words of encouragement to that driver, despite all that's happened.
So it feels really nice that people actually care about it and people are concerned. But I also feel like people shouldn't be like, oh, that girl, she's dumb or this or that. We're not gonna judge because we don't know what she might be going through. And let's just, like I said, material things can be replaced, but a life cannot be.
That man you saw earlier was Eric Hinton. I met with him a few weeks ago, and he is a Lansing native. And when he was a toddler, his older sister Angie was found dead in Delhi Township on the side of a road in 1991. Her case is still unsolved, and in 2009, his family faced another loss. Eric Hinton has fond memories of his twin brother and baby of the family, Edric.
He was just, quiet but still outgoing also in his life. He enjoyed spending time with his friends, listening to music, playing basketball, just normal things. He enjoyed life the best way he could.
Edric was doing exactly that on a warm August night in 2009 when he was 19. He went to a party on Lansing's south side. Eric wasn't with his brother that night, but he says he remembers feeling strange, like something was off.
We were out, at a gathering, and I just told our friends, I'm not feeling good, and I'm just ready to go, and everybody was like, are you okay? And they're like, you feel sick? I'm like, no, something just weird. It just felt weird about something.
Eric went home and went to sleep. Hours later, he woke up to horrible news. Someone drove by the party and shot through the window, hitting Edric. He died later that night at the hospital.
It shouldn't happen at all, but twice, and you start to sit back and you wonder, why you? Why your family? Why this?
From the beginning, police had a challenging case, but they were certain about one thing.
From everything that they have gotten and what they knew is that they believed he wasn't the intended target. Throughout the course of it, we've been told that, Edric was pretty much at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Now the family just wants to know what happened, who did it, and why.
We just want the individuals, the right individuals, to be held accountable.
Eric says that's what he wants for both of his siblings, and his family wants the public's help. If you know anything about either case, you can call Crime Stoppers at the number on your screen, and you can remain anonymous.
I went to this fair every year. My family always camped here. I grew up watching the shows and spending all 10 days here every year.
And from an early age, Zaina Alexandra knew she wanted to work with sea lions. Now she's living that dream as a trainer and traveling the country with Stella, Avocado, and Lily.
I'm used to when I get home and get to come up here to vacation that it's just family time, but having my work here and separating work and family time is different. It's a lot of fun, but being able to bring these animals to a place where I grew up and I didn't get to see them and be able to have the younger generations get to see them and me be able to teach, it's really exciting. I want them to come up and ask me questions. Ask me about my animals. Ask me about their stories. They're rescue sea lions. Ask me why each of them is rescued, what their background is. I want to teach. I want to spark that interest in as many kids as I can.
Now these girls will be at the Ionia Free Fair until July 20th, so you can come on down and learn all about them and their amazing species. Here for you in Ionia, Ashley Graham, 6 News. And we wanted to know how much money the school has already paid in the last few years for policy violations before he arrived. We asked Michigan State for a list of all the money they've paid in settlements and fees in relation to their employees violating that policy since June of 2016. As of May this year, they've paid nearly $450 million. The majority of that, $425 million to be exact, went to 332 Nassar survivors last August. But the payments haven't stopped. MSU paid roughly $21 million in Nassar settlements in 47 payments over a 5-month period. The payments are separate from the big settlement that went to first wave survivors. They started at $60,000 and some stretched into 7 figures.
It's not really surprising to me.
Elizabeth Abdenor worked in the school's Title IX office until 2018. She now works as an attorney, helping some individuals currently going through MSU's Title IX process, a process that for some is taking years.
And I have 2 clients right now whose investigations went on for more than 500 days. So it's not surprising to me, and in fact I think there are probably more that will be coming down the pipe.
MSU leadership says they're taking steps to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. Stanley appointed 2 people to an oversight committee where they will focus specifically on policy violations like this.
So this is obviously an incredibly important issue for Michigan State University, and I wanted to make sure that I had people advising me who were expert in this area. And because again, I think there's decisions we're making that can impact survivors in ways we haven't thought about. So I wanted to make sure those voices were at the table.
Abdenor says all the MSU community and those close to it can do is wait and see.
This is not just a one and done, one bad guy, get rid of him type situation, that there are a lot of people in a lot of places at MSU who are complicit in this, and I hope they continue to find those people and address it.
I did reach out to MSU for comment about these numbers, and they say all these payments don't really reflect a normal year for the university. This month, thousands of people will run 5Ks in every state in honor of Jason Carr's son, Chad, who was diagnosed with a rare pediatric brain cancer in 2014.
When they tell you, yeah, there's not going to be a surgery, you can't do that on this type of tumor, he probably has 9 months to live. I mean, it just floors you, like there's nothing that could ever prepare you for that.
Chad spent the next 15 months in treatment, but died in 2015 at the age of 6. His family started organizing annual runs in his memory shortly after. Once a prison employee told inmates at the G. Robert Cotton Correctional Facility in Jackson about the Chad Tough Foundation, more than 100 of them wanted to get involved. Many of them had personal reasons for running, like James Adrian, who lost a grandfather and cousin to different kinds of cancer.
The fact that we in here is not much that we could do to give back, so anytime there's a program coming through here, anything we can get involved in, I'm involved with Chance for Life, I'll be on the Warden's Forum, so anything I could do to better the prison, to better my community, I'm all for it.
The inmates raised $2,000 for pediatric cancer research this year, in addition to the 5K. Michigan Supreme Court Chief Justice Bridget McCormick ran with them and says she was inspired by their willingness to help in any way they could.
Anybody can do good at any time from anywhere. That doesn't mean we always do, but when these guys do it, I think it really can inspire better angels in just about anybody.
Here for you in Jackson, Ashley Graham, 6 News.